Greetings and salutations, my friends. Welcome to another Total War Warhammer 2 guide. Today we are looking at some of the range, not all of the range units, there's so many of them, but we're going to look at some of the ranged units of the Skaven army. Now, the ranged units of the Skaven army range from average to bad, really bad. So they're not really there for their ranged units. They've not got a bunch of just really solid archers. They've got some fun stuff and some useful stuff, but not something that's going to win you a massive amount of fights. They're more of a little added extra. They've got some very specialist ones, which we'll talk about in the next video. But today we are going to be talking about, excuse me for a minute, the Skaven Slingers. The Night Runners with slings and without. We've got the Gutter Runners, and then we've got the Gutter Runners with slingers, poison, and the poison. Lots of Gutter Runners, lots of varieties. And let's start off with poor little shitty McShitfaces. It is the Skaven Slingers. Now, they're pointless. I was trying to... There's always a point to a unit. Anything's a meat shield. They're expendable and they've got the meat shield like Skaven slaves. They don't care if they break and stuff like that. They've got 120 range and they've got ammunition of 22. They don't really do much damage. They've not got the longest range. I've used them quite a bit, especially early on in the campaign. I just don't see much point of them because, you know, these units are so cheap. Even the upgraded ones we're about to look at are just a better option, even for the extra price that you pay. I'd rather have another unit of Skaven Slaves than a Skaven Slave Slingers. I just don't see much of a value in them, and they're pretty shit. So next up, let's look at the two varieties of Night Runners. And... nice looking models, pretty sort of simple. They're the sort of, you know, junior level. If they're the slaves, these are the sort of junior level guys. So they have, they're decent. I like the way it says decent in combat. Like, honestly, you know, honestly, they're decent. But they do have Vanguard deployment, which is massive, as well as fire whilst moving, which is more useful than you think, because most... ranged units don't really want to fight in close combat, so they'll be on skirmish, meaning that once the enemy gets close enough, they'll run away, so they don't engage, right? Which is generally speaking a good thing. But what these guys allow you, while you're running away, you're not shooting, but these guys can basically strafe the enemy and just sort of, you know, zigzag away and still be shooting and still be doing damage. That's why I think they're so much more useful than the Skaven Slave Slingers. The range, because they've got these little throwing star duties, is only 70, and they've only got 10 shots. But remember, they're okay in close combat as well. They basically become a sort of a slightly better unit of Skaven Slaves, really. Whilst doing it. But they've also got the dodge, which gives them the plus 30% physical resistance. They can fire while moving. They've got the strength in numbers and the scurry away ability. Can't tell you how much I love the fire whilst moving option. The second option is the Slinger dudes. Pretty much the same sort of variety, same sort of stats. They've still got Vanguard deployment and the dodge, which is lovely, but they don't have the fast whilst moving. What they make up for is that they have more ammunition, it does a bit more damage, I think so, and twice the range. Oh no, so this is shorter range, it's got 20 damage. What was the armor piercing of 2, everybody, 2. So, you know, stand well back. Whereas these are 13, so less damage. But for me, although it's double the range, if you're in a ranged war with anybody that has any decent range, like high elves and stuff, they're going to destroy you. You don't really want them to be into that big firefight because you're going to lose. So the fact you don't have the fire whilst moving thing means that for me, I'm going to be taking these guys, the Night Runners, over these guys every single day of the week. I mean, just put them together. I just think the standard Night Runners are a lot more effective. They can run about for days while still shooting, which is massively important for me. So then we'll move on to the Gutter Runners, which are your sort of, you know, next step up. Let's have a look at the standard Gutter Runners. So they're very sort of similar. They're just a slight upgrade all round on the previous guys, the Night Runners. That's what they're called, isn't it? I've just had a brain fart. Yes, Night Runners. Little bit more, we can compare them. Little bit more, let's just click the same unit so we can sort of see. So twice the amount of armour, but still shit. Bit more leadership, bit more damage, etc., etc. 2 more shots. Same range. It's basically the same weapon. 3 extra damage. But what they do have is, as well as the firewall moving thing, they have the snare net, which is a constant thing. Anybody within 45 metres gets charge speed and charge reduced. So this makes them so much more effective because they can fire while moving. Is that unless the enemy is in a Ferrari, they're not going to catch you. You know, horses will still catch you and stuff, but even quick infantry, you could just run around for days, well, 12 shots even, and just shoot them. They're slowing them. They're never going to catch you. It's so effective, this. So this is my personal favourite, along with the Gutter Runner Poison that we'll talk about in a minute. These are just, I absolutely adore these Gutter Runners. I think they're superb. Much more than the, again, they've got the Slinger version, same sort of thing. They do have the snare net as well, so that helps them a bit, but I'm gonna take the standard Gutter Runners all day long. And also they've got the stalk ability, meaning they can stay hidden in any terrain, which is lovely. And then you've got the Gutter Runners with poison. Do they look poisony? Not really. So basically the same deal, but their missiles do poison damage, which with, if you think about this, you've got the snare net slowing the enemy, slowing their charge. You're then throwing shuriken thingies at them that do poison, which, as well as debuffing other things, also reduces their speed. So these guys, for me, are just incredible. Again, they've got the Slingers version. I'm just not a massive fan of the Slingers because I don't, as a Skaven general, I'm not going to be wanting to be caught in a big long-range firefight because we'll get destroyed. So therefore, I'm much rather inclined to take these guys. The Slingers have twice as many shots, but at the end of the day, I want these guys to fire 12 shots into the enemy while just running past them, going, haha, laughing at them as they throw throwing stars at them. And then once they're done, they can still get in there because their melee attacks also do poison damage, so they can still be valuable to the rest of the fight. Charge the main, once the enemy's engaged, charge the flank and get that poison debuff to help out all your other dudes, your clan rats and your storm vermin and stuff like this. So this unit, by far above everything else in this army. The Gut Runners are still good, but as soon as you can get the poison upgrade, I'd go for that. That, to me, is a pretty special little unit, and I just don't leave home without them. Right, there you go. There's our group of the main missile units of the Skaven army. We're also going to talk about the fun missile units in the next episode, and then we've got the monstrous stuff, and then we've got the artillery. I'm an artillery guy, it's my favourite thing, so look forward to those episodes. Subscribe if you're new to the place, like if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.